Welcome the students of SC Civil for the subject Concrete Technology, Unit 3, Properties and Testing of Hardened Concrete. We will use the reference books M.A. Shetty, Concrete Technology, Theory and Practice, M.L. Gambhir, Concrete Technology, Theory and Practice, A.M. Nevle, Properties of Concrete. The course objectives: with the successful completion of the course, the student should have the capability to know the properties of various ingredients of concrete and concept of mixed design. Second course objective is to learn the behavior and properties of concrete in fresh and hardened state. Third course objective is to understand the special concrete and their applications. Fourth course objective is to understand the durability aspects and preventive measures to enhance the life of concrete. Now we will see the course outcomes. On successful completion of this course, student will be able to select the various ingredients of concrete and its suitable proportion to achieve desired strength. Second course outcome is able to check the properties of concrete in fresh and hardened state. Third course outcome is get acquainted to concreting equipments, techniques and different types of special concrete. Fourth course outcome is able to predict deteriorations in concrete and get acquainted to various repairing methods and techniques. This is the syllabus of Unit 3, Properties and Testing of Hardened Concrete, which includes Part A, Hardened Concrete, which includes strength of concrete, factors affecting the strength, micro cracking and stress-strain relationship, relation between tensile and compression strength, impact strength, abrasion resistance, creep and shrinkage. It also includes Part B, testing of hardened concrete, which include destructive test, compression strength, flexural strength, indirect tensile strength, core test, non-destructive test, rebound hammer, ultrasonic pulse velocity, pull-out test and impact echo test. Now we will see the Part B, testing of hardened concrete, non-destructive test, rebound hammer, ultrasonic pulse velocity, pull-out test and impact echo test. First we will see the non-destructive test. It is now considered as a powerful method for evaluating existing concrete structures with regard to their strength and durability apart from assessment and control of quality of hardened concrete. In certain cases, the investigation of crack depth, micro cracks and progressive deterioration are also studied by this method. Though non-destructive testing methods are relatively simple to perform, the analysis and interpolation of test results are not so easy. Therefore, special knowledge is required to analyze the hardened properties of concrete. In the non-destructive methods of testing, the specimens are not loaded to failure and as such the strength informed or estimated cannot be expected to yield absolute values of strength. These methods therefore attempt to measure some other properties of concrete from which an estimate of its strength, durability and elastic parameters are obtained. Some such properties of concrete are hardness, resistance to penetration of projectiles, rebound number, resonant frequency and ability to allow ultrasonic pulse velocity to propagate through it. The electrical properties of concrete, its ability to absorb scattered and transmit X-rays and gamma rays, its response to nuclear activation and its acoustic emission allow us to estimate its moisture content, density, thickness and its cement content. Based upon the previous discussion, various non-destructive methods of testing concrete have been developed. First is the surface hardness test, second is rebound test, third is penetration and pull-out techniques, Fourth is the dynamic or vibration test. Fifth is the combined methods. Sixth is radioactive and nuclear methods. Seventh is magnetic method and electrical method. Eighth is the acoustic emission techniques, and ninth is the surface hardness methods. So we have seen the non-destructive test. Now we will see the rebound number, the one of the non-destructive tests. So here we can see figure 1, the sectional view of the Smith rebound hammer. So here the concrete surface is there, here the plunger is there, the spring is inside the hammer, then tabular housing is here, this is the mass, this is the rider on which we can see on the scale the reading we will get, the rebound number. Here the catch is there, the release button is here, and here another spring is there. Smith rebound hammer developed in 1948 is one of the commonly adopted equipments for measuring the surface hardness. The sectional view of the hammer is shown in figure 1. It consists of a spring control hammer that slides on a plunger within a tabular housing. When the plunger is pressed against the surface of the concrete, the mass rebound from the plunger. It retracts against the force of the spring. The hammer impacts against the concrete and the spring control mass rebounds, taking the rider with it along the guide scale. By pushing a button, the rider can be held in position to allow the reading to be taken. The distance traveled by the mass is called the rebound number. It is indicated by the rider moving along a graduated scale. Each hammer varies considerably in performance and needs calibration for use on concrete. The test can be conducted horizontally, vertically, upwards and downwards, or at any intermediate angle. At each angle, the rebound number will be different for the same concrete and will require separate calibration or correction chart. Figure 2 shows the typical relationship between compressive strength and the rebound number with hammer horizontal and vertical on a dry or wet surface of concrete. So here we can see figure 2 relation between the rebound number and compressive strength. So on horizontal axis we can see the rebound number, on vertical axis we can see the compressive strength in megapascal or Newton per millimeter square. Here the dark line we are seeing hammer held for the wet concrete, and the dotted lines are for the dry concrete. Here the hammer vertically down, the lines are there. Similarly, hammer vertically up, this is the line, and hammer horizontal, these are the central lines. During 1965 and 1967, an international survey on the use of Smith rebound hammer was carried out by REM. Majority of those who spoke were against the use of Smith rebound hammer in acceptance testing. The consensus was that the Smith rebound hammer is useful to very useful in checking uniformity of concrete and comparing one concrete against another, but it can only be used as a rough indication of concrete strength in absolute terms. So we have seen the rebound hammer, one of the non-destructive tests. So now we will see the ultrasonic pulse velocity, one of the non-destructive tests. So figure 3 shows the ultrasonic pulse velocity test equipment. So here the instrument is seen, the wires are attached and two transducers are there. This is called as Pandit. Ultrasonic pulse velocity method, which involves measurement of the time of interval of electronically generated mechanical pulses through the concrete. The ultrasonic pulse method have gained considerable popularity all over the world. Ultrasonic pulse velocity method consists of measuring the time of travel of an ultrasonic pulse passing through the concrete to be tested. The pulse generator circuit consists of electronic circuit for generating pulses and a transducer for transforming these electronic pulses into mechanical energy having vibration frequency in the range of 15 kHz to 50 kHz. The time of travel between initial onset and the reception of the pulse is measured electronically. The path length between transducer divided by the time of the travel gives the average velocity of wave propagation. Recently, battery-operated, fully portable, digitalized units have become available in UK. One such unit is called Pandit, that is Portable Ultrasonic Non-Destructive Digital Indicating Tester. It only weighs 3 kg. So we have seen ultrasonic pulse velocity, one of the non-destructive tests. Now we will see the pull-out test. A pull-out test measures the force required to pull out from the concrete a specially shaped rod whose enlarged end has been cast into that concrete. The stronger the concrete, the more is the force required to pull out. The ideal way to use pull-out test in the field would be to incorporate assemblies in the structure. These standard specimens could then be pulled out at any point of time. The force required denotes the strength of the concrete. Another way to use pull-out test in the field would be to cast one of the two large blocks of concrete incorporating pull-out assemblies. Pull-out test could then be performed to assess the strength of concrete. Figure 4 shows the relationship between the compressive strength and the pull-out strength. So here we can see figure 4 relationship between pull-out and compressive strength. On horizontal axis we can see the pull-out force in kilonewton. On vertical axis we can see compressive strength in megapascal or newton per millimeter square. So we have seen the pull-out test. Now we will see the impact echo test, one of the non-destructive tests. The impact echo is an acoustic method for non-destructive evaluation of concrete and masonry, invented at the United States National Bureau of Standards (NBS) in the mid-1980s and developed at Cornell University in Ithaca, New York from 1987 to 1997. The test equipment manufactured by the Impact Echo Instruments LLC of Ithaca, New York. Impact echo is a method for non-destructive testing of concrete and masonry structures that is based on the use of impact-generated stress, that is the sound waves that propagate through concrete and masonry and are reflected by internal flaws and external surfaces. Impact echo can be used to determine the location and extent of flaws such as cracks, delaminations, voids, honeycombing and debonding in plain, reinforced and post-tensioning concrete structures including plates, that is slab, pavements, wall, decks, layered plates including concrete with asphalt overlays, columns and beams, round, square, rectangular and many I and T cross sections, and hollow cylinders that are pipes, tunnels, mineshaft liners, tanks. The method can be used to locate voids in the grouted tendon ducts of many types of post-tensioned structures. It can provide thickness measurements of concrete slab with an accuracy better than 3%, and it can locate voids in the subgrade directly beneath slabs and pavements. The method can be used to determine thickness or to locate cracks, voids and other defects in masonry structures where the brick or block units are bonded together with mortar. When properly used, the impact echo method has achieved unparalleled success in locating flaws and defects in highway pavements, bridge, buildings, tunnels, dams, piers, sea walls, and many other types of structures. Impact Echo is not a black box system that can perform blind tests on concrete and masonry structures and always tell what is inside. The method is used most successfully to identify and quantify suspected problems within a structure in quality control applications such as measuring the thickness of new highway pavement and in preventive maintenance programs such as routine evaluation of bridge decks to detect delamination. In all of these situations, impact echo testing has a focused objective such as locating cracks, wires or delaminations, determining the thickness of concrete slabs or checking a post-tensioned structure of wires in the grouted tendon ducts. Experience have shown that a thorough understanding of the impact echo method and knowledge about the structure being tested are both essential for successful field work. In echo methods, a stress pulse is introduced into the test medium at an accessible surface by a transducer or by mechanical impact. If a transmitter is used, the method is called pulse echo. If mechanical impact is used, the method is called impact echo. As shown in figure 5, in pulse echo techniques, the pulse propagates through the medium and is reflected by material defects or by interfaces between regions of different densities and or elastic moduli. So here we can see figure 5 schematic of pulse echo technique applied to the testing of concrete. These reflected waves or echoes are monitored by a second transducers coupled to the surface of the test object near the pulse source. The transducer's output is displayed on an oscilloscope or similar device. Using the time base of the display, the travel time of the pulse is determined. If the wave velocity in the medium is known, the travel time can be used to determine the location of the defected or interface where the reflections occurs. Since their introduction in the early 1940s, ultrasonic pulse echo method have been developed extensively and have been become an efficient, versatile and reliable non-destructive test method for metals, plastic and other homogeneous materials. Apart from limited use of detecting flaws in or measuring the thickness of thin concrete members, ultrasonic methods have previously had little success in the testing of concrete because the high frequency stress waves they employ, typically 100 kHz and above, are strongly attenuated by the heterogeneous nature of this material. Now we will see how impact echo works. Impact echo is based on the use of transient stress waves generated by elastic impact. A diagram of the method is shown in figure 6. A short duration mechanical impact produced by tapping a small steel sphere against a concrete or masonry structure is used to generate low frequency stress waves that propagate into the structure and are reflected by flaws and or external surfaces. So here we can see figure 6, the simplified diagram of the impact echo method. Surface displacements caused by reflections of these waves are recorded by a transducer located adjacent to the impact. The resulting displacement versus time signals are transformed into the frequency domain and plots of amplitude versus frequency spectra are obtained. Multiple reflections of stress waves between the impact surface, flaws, and or other external surfaces give rise to transient resonance. which can be identified in the spectrum and used to evaluate the integrity of the structure or to determine the location of flaws. It is the patterns present in the waveforms and spectra, especially the latter, that provide information about the existence and location of flaws or the dimensions of the cross-section of the structure where a test is performed, such as thickness of a pavement. For each of the common geometrical forms encountered in concrete structures, plates, circular columns and rectangular beam, I-beam and T-beams, hollow cylinders, etc., impact echo test on a solid structure produce distinctive waveforms and spectra in which the dominant patterns, especially the number and distribution of peaks in the spectra, are easily recognized. If flaws are present, cracks, voids, delamination, etc., these patterns are disrupted and changed in ways that provide qualitative and quantitative information about the existence and location of the flaws. Now we will see the impact echo test system. A typical impact echo test system is shown in the figure 7. Its principal components are a cylindrical handheld transducer unit, a set of spherical impactors, a portable computer, a high-speed analog to digital data acquisition system on a full-size ISA card installed in the computer, and a software program that controls and monitors the test and displays the results in numerical form and graphical form. The entire system weighs less than 14 kilograms, about 30 pounds, and is powered by a 110 to 220 volt AC source or by a 12-volt car or truck battery. Two hand-held units clamped in a spacer bar are used to measure wave speed. A single hand-held unit as shown here is used for impact echo testing. So here we can see the figure 7, a typical impact echo test system. Now we will see the impact echo test system. First, the basic impact echo hardware and software without a computer. In that, systems type A and type B described here do not include a computer and are designed for users who have suitable computer or wish to select their own. Now we will see the impact echo test system. Impact echo test system type A. The type A impact echo test system includes the following items. First is the data acquisition system, full size ISA card, 5 mega samples per second maximum speed. Second, one cylindrical handheld transducer unit. Third, a box of 200 replacement lead disc for the transducer unit. Fourth, 10 spherical impactors, 1/8 inch that is 3 mm to 3/4 inch that is 19 mm diameter. Fifth, one 12 feet or 3.7 meter cable and one 25 foot that is 7.6 meter cable for connecting the transducer unit to the data acquisition system. Sixth is one copy of the impact echo operating software on a 3.5 inch floppy disk. The software is called Imago, the Latin word for echo or image. Seventh is the software package labeled demo tutorial containing an animated stress wave simulation program and a tutorial for Imago software on floppy disk. Eighth is two Sentinel hardware keys for software protection. A key must be attached to the computer to enable the software to run. And ninth is the printed materials. So here figure number 8 shows the impact echo test system type A. So now we will see the impact echo test system type B. The impact echo test system type B is the same as type A with the following additional items. First is the one additional handheld transducer unit, cylindrical mold with two additional cables, and second is the spacer bar for use with two transducers for independent measurement of wave speed. So here now we can see figure 9, impact echo test system type B. Now we will see the impact echo test system second, complete system with computer included. These systems are shipped with the Imago software and the data acquisition card installed. They are ready for immediate use. Impact Echo Test System Type A or Type B with Toshiba Tecra 510 CDT notebook computer and Toshiba Desk Station V or Station 5 docking station. Now we will see the applications of impact echo test. When properly used, the impact echo method has achieved unparalleled success in locating flaws and defects in highway pavements, bridge, buildings, tunnels, dams, piers, seawalls, and many other types of structures. It can also be used to measure the thickness of concrete slab, pavement, floors, wall, etc. with an accuracy of 3% or better. Impact Echo is not a black box system that can perform blind tests on concrete and masonry structures and always tell what is inside. The method is used most successfully to identify and quantify suspected problems within a structure in quality control applications such as measuring the thickness of highway pavements and in preventive maintenance programs such as routine evaluation of bridge decks to detect delaminations. In each of these situations, impact echo testing has a focused objective such as locating cracks, voids or delaminations, determining the thickness of concrete slabs or checking a post-tension structure for voids in the grouted tendon ducts. Experience has shown that an understanding of the physical principles of the impact echo method and information about the structure being tested are both necessary for successful field work. So we have seen the impact echo test, one of the non-destructive tests. We have seen non-destructive tests such as rebound hammer, ultrasonic pulse velocity, pull-out test, and impact echo test. These are the YouTube links available on YouTube. Surface hardness methods, rebound hammer test, non-destructive testing methods number 2, non-destructive testing method for concrete number 1. Next YouTube link, rebound hammer test complete practical with calculation. Next YouTube link, lecture 5, rebound hammer test. The Cornaz concrete cowboy explained the Swiss hammer non-destructive concrete test method. Module 1, lecture 34, basic non-destructive testing for concrete structures. Next YouTube link, ultrasonic pulse velocity test for concrete non-destructive testing methods NDT number 8. Ultrasonic pulse velocity test for concrete non-destructive testing. Next YouTube link, ultrasonic pulse velocity test on a pier. Next YouTube link, ultrasonic pulse velocity meter, ultrasonic concrete tester demo part 1. Next YouTube link, ultrasonic pulse velocity meter NDT of concrete, direct, semi-direct, indirect mode demo part 1, IS 516. Ultrasonic pulse velocity test of concrete. Next YouTube link, ultrasonic pulse velocity test. Next YouTube link, pull out resistance test for concrete non-destructive testing methods, NDT number 4. Next YouTube link, pull off resistance method for concrete James Bond test non-destructive testing methods, NDT number 5. Pull out strength bond strength test on hardened cement concrete lab testing video. Next YouTube link, pull out test concrete block. Next YouTube link, impact echo test for concrete non-destructive testing methods, NDT number 9. Next YouTube link, impact echo test non-destructive test of concrete. Next YouTube link, impact echo instruments. Next YouTube link, PET, that is pile echo tester. So we have seen the part B of unit 3. Part B, that is testing of hardened concrete, which includes non-destructive test, rebound hammer, ultrasonic pulse velocity, pull-out test, impact echo test. So this is the syllabus of unit 3, properties and testing of hardened concrete. It includes part A, hardened concrete, which includes strength of concrete, factors affecting strength, micro cracking and stress strain relationship, relation between tensile and compressive strength, impact strength, abrasion resistance, creep and shrinkage. It also includes part B, testing of hardened concrete, destructive test, compression strength, flexural strength, indirect tensile strength, core test, non-destructive test, rebound hammer, ultrasonic pulse velocity, pull-out test and impact echo test. Thank you all students.